human on Twitter, on Instagram, in Facebook groups. Go in and answer people's questions as an expert without trying to pitch and sell everything. People can get to know you. It's like, that's the guy. He knows everything there is to know about Flowmaster. That guy, he must be like, there is someone out there who knows more about Flowmasters than anybody else out there. And then he just went on the internet. He would get followers. He would get, there's work behind it. You have to actually post those pictures on Instagram. You have to actually go in and answer people's questions without knowing if it's going to actually lead to anything. But that's kind of the secret, I would say, is you can reply to people's questions on open forums and on social media. Everybody else sees it, not just that one person. You're not just replying to emails. You're replying to everybody. Everybody can see, man, my man Andy is like so helpful. He like always answers people's questions in the ClickFunnels group. You would get followers who are from the ClickFunnels community if you answer questions in the ClickFunnels community. So if that's your community, you want to sell marketing, you have a podcast that you want people who are into funnels and marketing to listen to, go into their community and be helpful. But don't go in there and just try to spam and like, oh, by the way, I got a podcast, you should come over here. One of the best things I saw, it was right after, so it was not the last event, but the one before that, where I got my 2 Comma Club award. And then there was someone saying, hey, I would love to interview anybody who got a 2 Comma Club award. So I responded to him. Turns out it was a little reverse funnel. He was looking for clients he was like a kind of a wealth investor or something. So he was like, well, anybody that got a 2 Comma Club award, they might be a good potential client. So he built a podcast around interviewing successful marketers with 2 Comma Club awards. And then on the back end, he didn't do it like on the show. Like he did it well, right? Like I'm not faulting him for it. But on the back end, it was like, if you I got a bunch of money in the bank and I've got some plans over here. Like it was well done, but he did it the slow way. He had no guarantees anything was going to happen. So it's that middle one. It's getting attention. It's marketing. I love education marketing. I kind of did that by accident with ScanPower, right? I was just going to teach people retail arbitrage. If you want to use ScanPower, great. But it works for everything. Just teach people how to use your product, how to get the most out of your product, how to make money with your product. And then if they want to use your product, that's great. But if they don't, it doesn't matter because it's not cost. You didn't invest in all those books. And you're not shipping any orders. You just point them over there. And if you're a real person who provides real value, they're going to want to buy your book. I have people who buy my book, never open it. And I'm like, why? Why don't you open it? It's like, no, I just bought your book because, you answered so many of my questions. I kind of felt bad. Like, so I wanted to buy some. They want, this is like the psychology part. They want to spend money. I meet people at events. I'm sure this happened to you. You've gone to an event. People say, hey, I've watched your show. Like, hey, can I buy you a beer? Like, hey, let's, come out. Like, dinner's on me tonight. And you're like, why? Like, I can buy my own dinner. It's because you've given them value in some other way. And this is how the law of reciprocity kicks in, and they want to give back. And I learned this the hard way because they used to say, no, that's cool, man. I'm out of town. I'm on expenses. I can buy my own beer. It's good, man. Like I was actually turning down their thank you. Right. So now I didn't realize that. Now I'm like, yes, absolutely. Like I'm glad that's how they are saying thanks. And I'm more than happy to let them say thanks that way. But it took me a while to kind of understand that.
Yeah, that's outstanding. I love all that. And one of the things that Amy and I always kind of harp into is building an audience, right? Like you said, like helping people build the audience. Once you build an audience, you can sell anything, right? I mean, because now people know you, they trust you, and they are, like you said, they're so grateful for the free help because you're not asking for anything up front. You're providing value up front, and then providing them, not forcing them, not telling them they have to, but then also providing, hey, and if you want something extra that I've put a lot of work into, here's this or whatever. And I agree with you completely that it is strange to have people come up to you and recognize you, at least when you're first starting out, and offer you things like you said. At first, you're kind of like, no, like this is just what I do, But then you're right in terms of that's their way of saying thank you and wanting to spend some time. A lot of times, people just want to. They're like, this dude's awesome. I just want to hang out with him and interact with him in person because I've heard him on all these podcasts or seen all these YouTube videos or whatever. And I think that's an awesome thing to participate in. I love hanging out with, when I go to some of the Amazon seller conferences, it's just so fun. And some of the other fun things is just hanging out with, for me, like a lot of the other software providers, right? Even though like technically they're competitors and things like that, like it's just so fun to sit around and talk shop because it's so amazing how similar all of those people are who are in that room with you, right? Because they've got a similar path and all that kind of stuff. So it's really fun to do that. I'm an introvert. I have a really hard time being around a ton of people. I get super burned out when I go to conferences, but I would say you have to at least go to one to really just, kind of absorb some of this stuff. I know right now with the COVID, it's a lot harder to do, but once this dies down, hopefully, sometime next year, that, if you have an opportunity to go and interact with other people, highly suggest that you guys do that in person. It's such a cool experience. On that note, Chris, Amy and I are very we're always learning, right? ABL, always be learning. Like I said, I'm always listening to Audible. If I like get suggestions, like I love the podcast. I love asking this question because it always kind of tunes me into maybe something I haven't heard of. But what are your favorite books, podcasts, motivational materials? I especially am super into self-development, anything that you can share with the audience that's made a big difference. You already shared, I can't remember the name of the book, but I already added it to my list, the margins, higher margins. Anything else that you really are kind of studying right now and feel like it's making a big impact in what you're doing?
I mean, you caught me a little off guard with that question because I got the Audible account. I can't add Audible books from my phone or something. Like I have to actually go to audible.com. So I'm on Amazon, and I have always have extra credits. So I'm like, oh, I need to actually listen to these things. I need to actually listen to them. I mean, I did read Atomic Habits. I thought that was really useful, especially habit stacking, because I don't know if this is a common thing for Amazon sellers or just the entrepreneurs. Like fitness, like kind of staying in shape and getting up and moving. So I actually bought a recumbent bike so that I could stack playing video games with exercise, because I had a rower and you had to use your hands and it was just torture for me to do like even 30 minutes of cardio. So now I'm knocking it out. I'm playing my video games, but I'm dripping with I'm getting my cardio in. It's great. And I learned that from Atomic Habits. But honestly, when I'm in the car, I listen to nothing. No radio, no YouTube videos, no nothing. And I find it's like where people think in the shower, they had a great idea in the shower. I had such a good idea as I was falling asleep, laying in bed. And that's because all the distractions are gone and your brain can start to think and process things. So I do that in the car. And I keep my phone with me and I'll turn on the little voice recorder, because if I try to write it down, I'm like, no, it's not going to work. So I'll just keep kind of notes doing it that way. And I think more people should do that, because I know a lot of times you get in the car, you blast the radio, you do all this stuff. I think just being alone with your thoughts, letting your brain process things, can actually lead you honestly, for me, it's led to some very creative marketing ideas where I'm like, oh, for Pete's sakes, we could do this and this and that. You have to, your brain is more powerful than I think we give it credit for to create or come with creative ideas, but you have to let it do that. I haven't got much into meditation, but I've been kind of looking at that